Hello students, let us revise the lesson Advent of Europeans to India. In this session, the important concepts that come in the lesson are discussed. I hope this will help you to revise better. Most frequently asked question from this lesson: explain the reason for Advent of Europeans to India, or what made the Europeans to discover sea route to India. They could ask the question in both the ways. All of us know that the land route was discovered to India in 1498. Till then, the trade was carried on through land route. There is a proverb: necessity is the mother of invention. What are those necessities or inducements that forced the Europeans to go in search of a sea route to India? That we have to understand and answer here. First reason was attack on Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks in 1453. And it was the only land route available for trade at that time. At present, the Constantinople is known as Istanbul. Here you might get a question: how attack on Constantinople had an impact on the Europeans and how it made them to search sea route to India. As I already mentioned, it was the only land route available for trade between the east and the west. It was the connectivity center where the eastern traders and the western traders used to meet. At that time, the trade activities were controlled by the Arabian traders and the Italian traders. They used to meet at Constantinople, at present Istanbul, and they used to carry on the trade activities. The next reason for the search of sea route to India by the Europeans is the Turks who attacked Constantinople. They started to levy heavy tax on the goods. The trade became unprofitable to the merchants. When the tax is high, naturally the price of products will rise, which will reduce the profit of the merchants. Thus, the trade activities at Constantinople reduced. The attack on Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks resulted in the closure of land route between east and the west. So, the Europeans started to search for a sea route. Till the closure of Constantinople, the Italians had complete monopoly over trade in Europe. Italian traders became wealthy. Even the other European nations wanted to trade with Asian nations and become rich. Prominently, Portugal and Spain attempted to break the monopoly of Italy in trade. Thus, the European kings and queens started to extend their support to the adventurous sailors to find sea route to India. Most importantly, there was huge demand for Indian spices. Pepper, cardamom, and other spices increased in Europe. Because of the closure of land route, supply of these spices reduced, but demand increased, which resulted in sharp increase of price. Due to the Renaissance in Europe, modern equipment such as compass, astrolabes, and gunpowder were invented. As these equipments ensured safety, the sailors were confident enough to go on long voyages. The next important point to remember is about the person who discovered new sea route to India: Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama started his voyage from Lisbon of Portugal and reached Calicut in the year 1498. Very tricky and expected question from this lesson: who were the first European power to enter India, and who were the last European power to leave India? The answer is Portuguese. Vasco da Gama, who was from Portugal, discovered sea route to India. Portuguese left India in 1961 when Goa was liberated. Thus, They were the first European power to enter India and last European power to leave India. The next important question to be expected from this lesson is who implemented Blue Water Policy? For about a century, Portuguese had no competition in India. In those years, they tried a few policies to strengthen their hold in India. Among them, Blue Water Policy is most important one, which was implemented by Francisco de Almeida, the Portuguese viceroy. Just now, we revised that Francisco de Almeida implemented Blue Water Policy in India to strengthen Portuguese empire. Then, what is that Blue Water Policy? Blue Water Policy is to establish complete control or supremacy over the sea instead of supremacy over land. In the initial years, the Portuguese did not attempt to capture territories in India. Instead, they wanted to get complete control over the sea. So he implemented the Blue Water Policy, and even we can expect this question in the exam. The next important one mark question to revise: who is the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India? Portuguese had no empire on land in India in the initial years. They concentrated on strengthening the sea. But later they started to concentrate on establishing their control on land. In this regard, the role of Alfonso de Albuquerque is notable and is the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India. Just now we revised that Alfonso de Albuquerque was the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India. On the same concept, you can expect the question what you are seeing on the screen. How Alfonso de Albuquerque is the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India? In this question, we have to prove that Albuquerque was the real founder by mentioning how he laid foundation to Portuguese Empire in India. He won Goa from Bijapur Sultan in 1510 and Goa became the administrative center of Portuguese from 1510 onwards. The point to be remembered is Goa was under the control of Portugal till 1961. There one more question that can be asked in this lesson: how the Portuguese power declined in India? The answer is by the arrival of French and the British in India. The Portuguese were not able to face the competition from French and the British, and their power in India declined. The Dutch East India Company, which was started in 1602 and who came from Netherlands, did not stay in India for a long time. Instead, they concentrated on spice-rich islands. On this, the question could be asked as why the Dutch limited themselves to spice-rich islands? And the answer is the Dutch were unable to face the competition from the French and the British in India. So, the Dutch limited themselves to spice-rich islands. The next question to revise: what are the reasons for the Carnatic Wars? Carnatic region, the parts of present Tamil Nadu, witnessed three major wars from 1746 to 1764, known as Carnatic Wars. The major reason for these wars was the competition between British and French. The next reason for the Carnatic Wars was the interference of British and French in Indian politics. In order to increase their hold and influence, the British and the French started to interfere in internal matters of Indian states. The War of Succession to throne in Hyderabad and Carnatic resulted in Second Carnatic War. The major reason for the two Carnatic Wars was ambition of Dupleix. Dupleix, who got appointed as the Viceroy of French East India Company in India, was a very ambitious person. He had an ambition to establish French Empire in India. To succeed in this, he had to compete and fight with the British. Thus, his ambition is also one of the reasons for the Carnatic Wars. The next question to be revised once again, it's about Dupleix. What was the ambition of Dupleix, the French governor? We have already revised. Dupleix had the ambition to establish French Empire in India. Second Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. It benefited the British more. On this, you can expect the question, how Second Carnatic War brought laurels to the British? Dupleix, the French governor who was ambitious to establish French Empire in India, was called back to France. Thus, the French suffered a setback. Battle of Wandiwash fought during the Third Carnatic War, in which French were completely defeated by the British, was a turning point in the history of colonization in India. The personalities who involved in the war were Count de Lally, General Bazzi, and Sir Eyrecourt. Count de Lally, the French governor, wanted to capture Wandiwash, but in the war which was fought at Wandiwash in Tamil Nadu, Sir Eyrecourt, a British general, defeated the French army led by General Bazzi. It is better to remember these things about the Battle of Wandiwash. The next 2 marks question to revise is, what are the results of Third Carnatic War? The first result is the British defeated the French. The second result, French lost all their bases and importance in India because of the Carnatic Wars. And French were given only Pondicherry and they were restricted to Pondicherry. No competitors left in India, so the British started to consolidate their power. All of us know about license, a document that gives us the authority to possess something or start something. Even during the time of the British, they had license issued known as Dastaks, issued by the Indian king to the British. On the same concept, you could expect one more question, that is, what are Dastaks? It's a license that can ensure anyone to import and export without paying any tax and transport goods anywhere. On the same concept, another one more question you could expect is, who issued Dastaks to the British? Don't you want to know who issued those Dastaks to the British? It was the Mughal ruler Farooq Shiara. He issued Dastaks to the British, authorizing them to trade without paying any tax in Bengal province. Frequently asked question from this lesson is, what are the reasons for Battle of Plassey? The first reason for Battle of Plassey was misuse of Dastaks by the British officials. One of the major battles fought by an Indian king was Battle of Plassey, fought in 1757. The Dastaks, as we already know, was a license which permitted for free trade without paying any tax. Gradually, the British officials became more greedy and started to sell those Dastaks to the Indian traders. That is how they misused it. It impacted the revenue to Bengal government, and revenue from trade to Bengal decreased. So, Siraj-ud-Dawla, the Nawab of Bengal, was disappointed with the British. And the second reason was, the British started to repair Fort William in Calcutta without taking permission of the Nawab. Not only that, they also placed cannons in the fort for protection. This increased the anger of Siraj-ud-Dawla on the British. The third reason for the Battle of Plassey was Black Room tragedy. Siraj-ud-Dawla attacked Fort William and was successful in it. After the capture, about 146 English men were imprisoned in a small room. Because of suffocation inside the room, 123 died. This incident is known as Black Room tragedy. The British officials Robert Clive wanted to take revenge on it. Because of all these reasons, Battle of Plassey was started in 1757. Another important question to study about Battle of Plassey is, what are the results of Battle of Plassey? British played their cunning plan to defeat Sirajuddaula. They included some of the rich people of Bengal and Mir Jafar, the military head of Sirajuddaula, on their side. Mir Jafar, who had most of the Bengal army under his command, did not participate in the war. Thus, the British succeeded in winning the war. This war resulted in major changes. What are those? Let us revise now. First result was Sirajuddaula, the Nawab of Bengal, was captured in the war and he was killed. The second outcome of Battle of Plassey was it exhibited the disunity among Indians. The British understood that they can continue their cunning plans on Indian kings and defeat them. In return for his help in the Battle of Plassey, and as per the agreement, Mir Jafar was named the Nawab of Bengal. Because of Battle of Plassey, British got exclusive rights to trade in Bengal. Mir Jafar had to pay 17 crores and 70 lakhs to the British as war compensation. He had to pay it as a relief to Sirajuddaula's attack on the Fort William. In the absence of Robert Clive in India, Mir Jafar was dethroned and Mir Qasim was appointed as the Nawab by the British. But Mir Qasim not wanted to be a puppet in the hands of the British and tried to free himself. He brought some of the reforms which angered the British and resulted in Battle of Buxar. The important question about Battle of Buxar that can be asked is about the result of Battle of Buxar. Mir Qasim formed a confederacy along with the Shah Alam II, the Mughal emperor, and Shuja ud Dawla, the Nawab of Oudh, to fight against the British. At the Battle of Buxar, this confederacy was defeated by Sir Hector Munro. The second result of Battle of Buxar, Shah Alam II gave Diwani rights over Bengal to the British. Not only that, Shah Alam II gave away all rights over Bengal to the British for an annual fee of 26 lakhs. The next result is the Nawab of Oudh also had to pay rupees 50 lakhs as war indemnity to the British. After the death of Mir Jafar, company paid pension to his son and took over the administration of Bengal completely. Thus, Battle of Buxar brought Bengal province completely under the control of the British. Most frequently asked 2 marks question from this lesson is, what is dual government? Dual government was introduced by Robert Clive in Bengal. Under this system, British had the right to collect land revenue. Whereas the administrative issues like justice had to be looked after by the Nawab. Now it's time to revise the important years in this lesson through a timeline. Attack on Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks in 1453. Vasco da Gama reached Calicut in the year 1498. Goa was captured by the Portuguese in 1510. English East India Company was started in the year 1600. Dutch East India Company was started in 1602. French East India Company was started in 1664. First Carnatic War was fought between 1746 to 1748. Second Carnatic War was fought between 1749 to 1754. Third Carnatic War was fought between 1756 to 1763. In 1757, Battle of Plassey was fought. Battle of Buxar was fought in the year 1764. I hope this will help you to revise better, and all the best for the exam.